Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Jack Atwood podcast. I'm your host, Jack Atwood, and today is Inauguration Day, January 20th. Super excited for the future, and this has been a very anticipated day for the last few years. Well, I guess it was anticipated if Trump won, which he did. And today we have a very special guest. Former President and 47th President Donald Trump is with us today on the podcast. How are you doing, Mr. President?
Thank you, Jack. Thank you. I'm doing fine, doing well. It's great to be here. Fantastic, really. Tremendous podcast. You know, people tell me all the time, Jack Atwood, he runs the best podcast. It's true, folks. It's true. This is the big leagues of podcasting, believe me. And I know a thing or two about big leagues. But this is Inauguration Day. It's an exciting time, very important time for our country. It's about a peaceful transfer of power. It's a beautiful thing, really. Incredible tradition. Even if sometimes, just say, if the other guy had won, you know, Kamala, we're not going to say Kamala, we're not going to say that. But, and if it was just like, that'd be like handing over your company to someone who's never even run a lemonade stand. Sad. But we do it because we love our country. And that's why we're here. So thank you for having me on the show.
Are you excited for the inauguration? Do you think it's going to be different this year than last term, the transfer of power and everything?
Inauguration Day, it's a beautiful thing, okay? Really special day. It's peaceful transition of power, which, just let me say, I did so perfectly. Some people didn't believe it, but I did. I never doubted it. I knew I'd win. We knew we had to win. Nobody transitions power like me. I made it the best, absolute best transition. Ask anybody. But seriously, it's a moment where we as a country, we come together, Jack. Unity, tremendous unity. That's what we have. That's our hope, right?
Do you have any advice for us?
Advice,
the American people and me.
I have advice, so much advice. First, surround yourself with the best people. You need winners, Jack. Not losers, not quitters, winners. Second, don't let the media push you around. Believe me. I know you're in big media here with the podcast, but you don't let people push you around, okay? And third, and this is important, always remember, it's about the people. It's about the farmers. It's about the workers, the truck drivers. Not the elites. Not the elites with their fancy lattes. You got to work for the people, and you'll do okay. Maybe not Trump level, okay, but close, right?
Okay, well, this is not President Donald Trump. Sorry, guys. My uncle, Paul Hoover, is actually back with us on the podcast. I hope you weren't disappointed, but today...
I'm sure they're relieved.
Relieved?
Because I don't know if that's what they probably wanted to hear from the president on Inauguration Day, but we were just joking around. At Thanksgiving, we just had a lot of fun because the president had just won, and I was doing my imitation. So I said, when we talk about Trump, I need to do a little Trump imitation just for fun. But everybody probably knows somebody who does a Trump impersonation. So that was just for fun.
They're always good. Some are good. Some are bad. This was definitely top notch. Especially because we can hear your voice.
It was big league.
Okay, yeah. Well, today we're talking about its Inauguration Day, and we're just going to talk about the election and the path that President Trump took and just his race to the White House and everything he did. And then also we'll be covering the RNC, like we said in the last episode. My uncle is a police officer, and in Milwaukee, where he is, he policed around the RNC when he was in the Milwaukee police force, and he policed during the day of the RNC, which was pretty cool with everything going on then and his assassination attempts before and after that. Yeah. And let's just get into first what was all entailed and what is different when in the police force a big event happens like that. I know you're not just dealing with one police station. They kind of all come together. But what is entailed with the preparation and everything for that?
Well, the preparation starts the day that they find out that they have the event in the city, which I'm not even sure when that was, but it was probably 2 to 4 years before, 2 to 3 years before, and then that's what the department begins the preparation. There's a lot involved, a lot of meetings, a lot of resources, a lot of calls, a lot of emails. I'm sure a lot of government money flows into the city during that time, a lot of federal government money, and then months, and if not, probably about a year before, the department members, the officers, and units, special like the specialty units are teams, like the bikemen, your motorcycle guys who handle a lot of things, but one of the big things that they handle is not just traffic. That's what their main thing is, but they don't just handle traffic, they handle the motorcade, or they help with it. But they have to do a lot of training because, as you know, I mean, we had a president shot and killed during a motorcade. Yeah. And so there's a lot of pressure that's on these guys. So they do that training. We have our MERT, Major Incident Response Team, which I was part of. We did training for field force or crowd control. And so there could have been, protests. It's a major political event. And a lot of political protesters show up to these things. So we have to be able to keep everyone safe. It's not about shutting down their voices, but it's keeping them from keeping them from rioting and keeping everyone safe. So there's a lot that's involved, and I think I started that training a good year before the RNC, and so that was exciting, I guess. We got a lot of new gear. We had things that you don't always see police officers wearing, but you'll see them with the riot gear. Mm-hmm. They have their, like everything is covered. It looks like almost like a catcher, a catcher or referee. Like the clear shield. They have all their gear, face masks. Yeah, like the clear shield. Well, like for the riot shields, yeah, it's like a $500 helmet. It's super expensive, made out of Kevlar. Maybe it's even more. It might be like $1,000. Wow. But they did not really spare a lot of costs and expense. They gave us gas masks. They gave us everything that we would need. They gave us all the training. We trained for days and days, with different scenarios and possible scenarios, things that could have potentially happened. And so it was a lot of thought was put into it, a lot of training. And Milwaukee basically they kind of just do the same thing in every city that they have. Like Cleveland, I can't remember the last one was last RNC, but Chicago had the DNC, so they did training down there. Some of our officers even went to Chicago. We had officers come from Chicago. We had officers from like multiple states. Florida, I know we had some from Miami, Texas, New Jersey, California. You name a major state, we probably had, if they had a major police department, they sent officers. So we had about 4,500 officers come from around the country for the week of the RNC to help us. But I'm sure they did training as well. I don't know, all that they did. We didn't necessarily train with them, but they had probably training for this because they had an event like this at their city at one point, I'm sure.
How much did the whole police force unified, because there were a lot of other police stations and from the different cities? What was the total number of the police force in and around the RNC?
It was probably 6,000 or 7,000. I don't know the numbers. Wow. But it was quite a few, because and that 4,500 actually might be including Secret Service, which they are the ones that are the guys in the suits and stuff, right? And the earpieces, and they're the ones closest to the president. But they also have a uniform division as well. So there may have been some officers from there. There was probably FBI agents. I know there were FBI agents running a lot of things, but I don't know if their number was included with that 4,500. But I know there was 4,500. What they say, 4,500 outside jurisdiction officers and personnel at the event. So our department, to give you an answer, our department has 1,200 uniformed officers, sworn officers, and yeah, I think there's actually more than 1,200 sworn, but 1,200 is our actual uniformed police force. And so everyone worked that week, unless they had a vacation. They may have been able to take vacation. I'm not even sure about that, but vacation, or maybe they had some kind of medical leave. But other than that, they had to work. There was no off days. All of our off days were taken before or after the event. You had to work, and it was 12-hour days, so it was like 6 days in a row. So it was a lot. It was very physically taxing. We didn't do a whole lot, I should say. Thankfully, there wasn't a riot. There wasn't anything major that happened that needed a lot of officers. There were things that happened, major things that happened. There was 2 officer-involved shootings, but it was not. Thankfully, the city didn't erupt, which can happen. But it was overall very peaceful. So the shootings were unrelated to the RNC, by the way, too. They had nothing really to do with the RNC. There were officers that were outside of our city that were involved in one of them. Because they were there because of the RNC, but it was not the event, or the incident was not tied to the RNC. Well, Donald Trump, in his voice, he would say that
they handled it beautifully. It was top notch. Milwaukee police is just wonderful. They handle it better even than the Secret Service. They're amazing too, but they didn't get the guy right away on the roof. They just.
So yeah, I think that it was there were a lot of crowds, a lot of very important people, I guess, VIPs. There were a lot of those there, but it was overall, it was good. I kind of wish I wasn't a police officer during that week, because I would have been at the event, like inside and gone to things, because I knew people that were there and could have probably gotten in. If I had talked to them before the event, long before the event, because it took a lot of clearance, a lot of not everyone can go, but it was pretty cool to watch on TV, because every night I'd watch what they had going on. And it was kind of cool because I was sitting there watching it on TV, and it was like 8 minutes away from where I was sitting.
Speaking about what you said about the assassinations, what do you think as a police officer about the assassination attempt in, I can't remember where it was.
Like a conspiracy? You think there's conspiracy?
No.
No, okay, good. Because we're not going down. This is not a conspiracy podcast.
Where was the first assassination attempt? I can't remember.
In Butler, Pennsylvania.
Are you
talking about Pennsylvania? Trump this year in July?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was on a Saturday.
Yeah.
It was a Saturday right before the RNC. It was in Butler, Pennsylvania. It was an outdoor rally, and the shooter was on the roof. Which, again, that's why I was kind of joking about conspiracies, because to me it doesn't really make sense how it all happened. But in sometimes, like they say, truth. Fact is stranger than fiction, right? Fact is stranger than fiction, because sometimes, like, how in the world could that happen? But people do become complacent, even in law enforcement, military, law enforcement. And I don't know who to blame. I don't really want to go into all that right now, but I mean, sometimes we look for somebody to blame, and it's just really everyone can become complacent. So that's usually when something like this happens, is people just think, oh, well, they look like they're official. They might belong there. But this guy, I don't know. I mean, it was weird. And so he was on the roof, shot, I think it was 8 times. And before they took him out,
wow.
And he ended up striking the president. And it wasn't a bullet fragment. I mean, I guess you could say it wasn't shrapnel. It was a bullet that hit his ear. It wasn't glass or whatever, they were trying to downplay this whole thing, which is really sad. It's kind of disgusting how politicized our media is. But they wanted to basically downplay what truly happened to this man. It was a political thing. This guy was trying to take out the man who was going to become the 47th president. And was the 45th president. And then there was another, I would say it was an assassination attempt at not Mar-a-Lago, but another golf club down there in one of the Trump-owned golf resorts in, I believe, it was West Palm Beach.
Yeah, how close was that one? He didn't hit him at all.
He didn't. I don't think he even got a round off. To be honest with you, he was going to shoot at the president. He had every intention, I believe, to do that. But the Secret Service, thankfully, was. Hopefully, I think it was because of the first assassination attempt. They seemed to be a little bit more vigilant, and they were able to thwart that. But I'll be honest with you, I think it's crazy that he even got that close. I still do. I think it's just kind of crazy that he got close.
Yeah.
With a AR, I believe it was AR style or AR rifle, and a scope, and
with the
he had every intention to take out the president.
I feel like it was kind of. I don't think they should have even have let something that another whole assassination attempt happen right after there was a huge assassination attempt, and I don't even think the guy had a lot of preparation. I don't think it was organized at all. He wasn't. Mm-hmm. I don't think the Secret Service should have let that happen.
Right.
I think it was a very pivotal time, and yeah.
And you know that there is, like I was talking about, complacency. We're all prone to that, but it is kind of scary when you think about how that this is the leader of the free world, or former leader of the free world, who should have been given the kind of protection that a sitting president has. I understand why they don't. Resources are somewhat limited, but when you have a man that's like a lightning rod like Donald Trump, sometimes you have to be a little bit give him a little bit more protection. I understand that's maybe not their policy, but he's running for president, and there's a lot of bad rhetoric surrounding this man, and it doesn't matter that you might not agree with his political views, but he still deserves the same kind of protection he deserves the kind of protection that he needs because of his personality and some things that he said. I mean, for better or for worse, he's obviously resonated with the majority of our nation. They elected him twice, and he got the popular vote. So, it's crazy how political the Secret Service became, or is.
Yeah, he definitely deserved the attention and protection of the president, and at that current time, I feel like he was more vulnerable than the actual
sitting president. Correct. Yeah. By nature of the sitting president, he was not campaigning any longer. He had gotten out of the race. He, by virtue of the fact that he is the president, he is every place he goes is going to be secured. The plane that he flies on, the place that he lives, everything, it's already going to be secured because that's just how it is. He's the president. When you're no longer the president, you're home. You do have protection, but it's not going to be the same as what you would at the White House, right?
Yeah. It's a bigger ordeal.
Sure. So, and in some ways, it's not needed for most. It's not needed for most presidents, former presidents, but for Donald Trump, he's different. So that's why I'm thinking that that should have all been factored in. It shouldn't be just this is the policy. No, sometimes the policy needs to be modified.
Okay, let's move into the election. And what did you watch the election on?
Yeah, so
did you use a news network?
We watched it on a television, but it was not legacy media like in 2016, where I was watching on Fox News, and I was watching Shepard Smith. I think it was Shepard Smith then, was doing the political analysis or whatever, and the election returns. This time, I just watched Benny Johnson because I thought it was more interesting, and he's a podcaster. But it kind of, as I'm reflecting on it now, it kind of mirrors what the rest of the country has been shifting towards. They're getting away from the legacy media. They're getting away from CNN and Fox News and NBC, ABC, CBS. They're getting their news even from they're getting their news from podcasters and from other sources. Let's just say
a lot of networks and the media has been a lot more exposed, and people have been a lot more transparent about how the media is, especially President Trump. He's always been very touchy about the media and how it lies, but I feel like in this campaign he really pointed that out, and people's perspective has changed a lot about the media.
I think he's been the main,
and how bad it really is.
He's been one of the main influencers on that. That's why he used Twitter and X and then Truth Social and all that. He has been, I think, a catalyst behind people getting their eyes open to this, and for younger influencers like Charlie Kirk and Matt Walsh, Dinesh D'Souza, many others, Ben Shapiro, and those guys aren't even on traditional talk radio. Like years ago, it was like Rush Limbaugh, and he's no longer with us. But Rush Limbaugh was a huge influence. But they've gone to like these younger and more diverse platform type guys. And when I say diverse platform, I mean like the way that they connect, whether it's social media or they have their websites or whatever, their apps. But it's kind of been it's been kind of bucking tradition, and it's different than it has been in the past, which is fine. But it just kind of shows you the shift, and I think Donald Trump has been a big catalyst behind it.
What do you think about J.D. Vance?
I've actually got to
senator.
I read his book. He is somebody kind of makes me think of like back when I was in Indiana, bus kids that were from kind of trailer parks and stuff like that. That's kind of his background. Also kind of like where my in-laws live. They're in the mountains of Pennsylvania, and he's from Kentucky. And kind of similar culture. I got to see him. I didn't get to meet him per se, but I was probably maybe 25 feet away from him. I got to listen to him talk at our police association at the Union Hall, because him and his wife, they came and he spoke, and it was kind of cool. I really like him. I think I don't know why. To me, I don't understand why people don't like him, but I resonate with him in that he's young. He loves our country. He's very well spoken. He's a Marine veteran. I'm not sure if he was in Iraq or Afghanistan, but he was deployed. He was a lot different than this Waltz dude. I mean, I'm thankful that he's a distant memory. But he was like almost like the polar opposite of J.D. Vance. Waltz was military, but he was a coward, in my opinion. He didn't deploy with his unit, and he made every excuse about that. He is a liar. He lied about his career, and J.D. Vance, and J.D. Vance is the kind of person you look at his career and you're like, man, is this even possible? Is this guy even for real? Like, how has he done all of these things? He's a Harvard lawyer. He was raised in poverty, and he served our country faithfully. But everything about him, everything about his resume is 100% true. And I think that's why people don't like him. I think that is why some people don't like him, is because he's so well spoken. And I like that about Pence. I know that some people are, they don't like Pence anymore or whatever, but and maybe some people like him more. I don't know, but I like that about Pence, and I think that's what Trump picked, was somebody that is well spoken. He's not just a wallflower. He's not just he's just a running mate. No, he can speak for himself, and I think that actually J.D. Vance kind of got himself in trouble because he made a statement about Trump. He's kind of spoke for Trump. I think that's what happened. And Trump, they asked Trump.
It was in the debate
about it. Yeah, right. And then Trump was asked, he's like, well, we didn't really talk about it, but Trump didn't like knock him down or anything. He trusts him, and that's what I think is good.
I feel like him and Pence are very similar because that's what Trump wants in a running mate, and what he got with Pence is kind of the same thing that he's going to get into with Vance. And I think Vance has the potential to run for president, especially after Trump, with this being his last term. I think that Vance could have a really good political career.
I think Trump was not picking a running mate as much as he was picking the future of America. I think that's what he realized. So I agree. He probably will be the next president if all goes well. I don't know I don't know what's going to happen in the next week. Our country is so broken. I hope that inauguration and everything is because there's just so many crazy people out there that could try another assassination attempt. They could try a lot of things, but Lord willing, and I don't put a lot of stock in I think we need a vote. I think we need to support, those that we, that hold some conservative values, hold Christian evangelical values. I know that Trump is not saved. I know he's not. But the thing is, he listens. I believe he listens to Christians. And ultimately, he is trying to uphold the Constitution. And I think that's what we want. And so as a Christian, I want to support that. So when I say Lord willing, I think that it's God's will. But of course, you never know what you're going to get till time passes. Then you have to kind of look back and say, okay, that's how that turned out. And I will say, Trump 45 kept his promises as best as he could. He kept his promises better than any president in my lifetime. And I did live during Reagan, but that I don't remember it.
From what Trump said he was going to do, how well do you think he's going to fix the economy and what in the southern border and the war in Ukraine? I wonder how that's going to turn out with him.
A lot of it is up to other people, in a sense. Like he's going to be the guy that could get it done. But we even see our current president trying to dismantle the southern border. Like, what are you doing? He's a lame duck. He shouldn't be doing anything like that. Oh. And in fact, the person that they had running, the Democrat, was running with the promise to fix the border and to put up a wall. And what are they doing now? They're taking the wall. They're trying to take the wall down. They're dismantling and selling off parts of the wall.
It's their dumb open border policy. That's not ethical.
And I hope that people realize that the ones that are having the open border policy and have had an open border policy for 4 years, and the border czar is the one that was also saying during their time that they're running that they're going to close the border. So they're obviously like, what is it? Do you believe it or not? Are you going to close it or not? And obviously they never intended to do that because they're trying to sabotage our president and our future president. They're trying to sabotage it. And so they don't really care about people. They don't care about secure borders. They just care about getting elected. So I hope that people are watching.
I feel like with us getting the majority of the House and the majority of the Senate, and with the good team and administration that Trump picked, I feel like we can fix a lot of stuff, especially with the border. And I feel like especially with the border because not only were we dealing with an administration that was terrible at guarding the border, but they practically promoted people coming in. Harris was put in charge, and with her open border policy, that really didn't do anything at all. And with the mix of everything, I think Trump can do a lot in the next 4 years. He picked a good team, a good administration, and like I said, with the House and Senate, we have a better chance of changing things than we did in 2016.
I agree.
Things are a lot more messed up, but
yeah. But sometimes when things are messed up, people are more willing to make changes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They're more because if everything's going well, I mean, it's like, don't fix that which is not broken, right? If it ain't fixed, don't broke it. But when things are broken, people are more open to making some important changes. So that might be good, right? The House, man, that was a close race.
Yeah.
And California, I was looking at DecisionDeskHQ.com. The California for president is still at 94%, as well as Oregon. So I don't know why they took months to count, and then Hawaii's at 92%. So I think that there's that to me points to corruption. I know that that's more anecdotal, but I think that there's a lot of corruption, because it shouldn't take 2 months to count votes. That information, I mean, you watch any of these shows, I know it's a presidential election, but it should be even so secure that like your vote is they should have it to where, like on American Idol or America's Got Talent or where those things, they vote. I mean, those are like millions of votes, I think, that come in. That's all tabulated very quickly. I don't understand why we have to take months or even days to figure this out. But
it's just so corrupt.
But I digress. The point is that the election was won and it was decisive, thankfully. And the House and the Senate are in our control, but we still have to have across the aisle votes for some of these things to be accomplished. So we have to work together because it takes 60 votes in the Senate for some things.
What else were you thinking on talking about Trump? Were you just talking about the election, or were you also talking about
we covered
in general?
Yeah, we did cover like philosophical things with him. Like I was saying, he's not a pastor. He may not even be a Christian. I think he considers himself to be a Christian. He grew up, he was and may still be a member of the Marble Collegiate Church in Manhattan, but he grew up under Norman Vincent Peale. His church background is not necessarily evangelical, but it's not conservative evangelical, but it is definitely a mainline denomination, Presbyterian. Mm-hmm. And so he does have, he can legitimately call himself a Christian as far as the world is concerned, as far as society is concerned. But between you and me, he is probably not a true believer. I have a philosophy about that, in which I gave, and I think that kind of, it's very simple. He's not a pastor. He shouldn't be looked at as some kind of religious leader. He's just a man that's supposed to help us protect our freedom, our constitutional freedom, which is so, in some ways, it is sacred. It's a sacred freedom. I believe it's from God. It's different than any other nation. And I think if America goes, the rest of the world goes. That's how serious this is. And the world is half gone already. But I think that there's implications with having our freedom. The implications are that we as Christians have the ability to worship and meet freely and have religious freedom, but also have the ability to go to nations of the world and take the gospel. So I think it is very sacred. Yeah. I just don't know if he is sacred himself. I don't think he is a saint. I don't think he's been sanctified.
I think he has a philosophy that a lot of people in the world have, like that I call myself a Christian. I believe in God. I do good things.
Yeah.
I'm a religious person, and
I don't believe in saying I don't believe in saying or asking for forgiveness. I just think you need to just do better next time.
That's what he got a lot of flack back in 2016 or 15 when he was in Iowa, because they straight up asked him the question if he had ever asked God for forgiveness of his sins. And he just said he doesn't think he needs to ask for forgiveness. He just needs to do better. And right there is very religious view, but not one of a believer.
That tells you a lot, but I think he has changed a whole lot since the
Absolutely.
assassination attempt.
I think like he was already kind of mellowing in his older age. He's close to 80. But also I think with that assassination attempt, he had what I think he called it a conversion. I don't think it means that he got saved. I think he just had like his life flashed before his eyes, and he realized how serious he already knew it was serious. I don't know if in 2016 he took it seriously, but I think he was surprised that he got elected. I'll put it that way, in a sense. I mean, because what he did was like it was the impossible. People run for office and lose and lose and lose before they ever win. He goes for the highest office in the land, first time ever running for any political office, and he wins. He was not expecting to win. I mean, I think he is the mindset of a winner. He wins everything. And the reason he wins, I'll say this, the reason he wins is because he's got tenacity, and he will keep going and keep going and keep going, and he believes in something. Okay, I truly believe. I think he believed in what he was doing as running for president in 2016. I think he was surprised that he won. And I think that's why the transition was so janky. It took a lot of, they had Steve Bannon. They had a lot of like Jared Kushner, a lot of weird stuff going on, and put people in position that probably shouldn't have been there. But I think this is a lot different. I think he's like, you know what? I got nothing to lose anymore. I'm just going to do this because it's the right thing to do. And I'm going to win, and we're going to make this we're going to fix this nation. And I think now is almost seeing the devil face to face. When he went to the swamp to drain it. I don't think he knew how bad it was, but now he does. He knows what the job involves. He knows how to do the job very well. And I think it's going to be different. I would definitely say he's been enlightened. Not necessarily saved, but I think he's enlightened to truth and reality. I would say the same, like when people have, when they come to realizing they're going to die, and sad to say, most people think they're going to have this opportunity. Life doesn't always end this way, but I think that they do become more introspective, and they start looking at themselves, and they start seeing themselves in light of reality and in light of eternity. And I think he's been enlightened to some of those things. I think he's a lot more introspective, and he's careful. He definitely doesn't just go off on a tear like he used to. He's a lot more measured and a lot more calculated, which I think is, I think people, that's what they wanted. They wanted everything that he had, except for they didn't like his rhetoric. And I think he's just become a lot better with that. I don't know why, but I think it's probably has something like you were saying to do with the election. The assassination attempts.
What do you think the main thing that's different from this term than last term, besides just the corruption? Because I think that in these past 4 years, he's had a plan, and he's had a lot of time to think about what he's going to do.
Okay, so as far as like
then in 2016,
I think he's just going to be a lot more organized. He knows what he needs to do. I don't think he was like highly unorganized before. I just think that we understood like he was coming into this, and he had never done it before, but he was very good at picking people. He just didn't know who he could trust. But I would say this time, I think it's going to be different. I think they're going to fight him in a different way, because everything they've thrown at him, it doesn't work.
He has a lot more experience this time.
Yeah, but they tried everything politically. Like what would have killed most people politically didn't work on him. So that's why I think that they're going to be a lot more vicious. So we got to be mindful of that. But I think this time around, he, like you say, he's got the experience. He's got he knows who we can trust. Also, I think people around him are a lot more loyal. I think that people also trust him more. Maybe I would say that. It seems like there's probably a little bit more loyalty around him. He's kind of weeded out all the people that are not loyal. I think that might be what it is he's weeded out a lot of the people that were disloyal.
I think he has a lot more supporters this time, especially with winning the popular vote. I feel like just everything has been upgraded than what it was in 2016.
Gives him more legitimacy.
And a lot
He's
of
not
things
just an
have
underdog.
downgraded. Yeah.
He's not just an underdog that just, had a sucker punch moment, went against a bad politician or whatever. Because Hillary was a bad politician. Bad at running campaigns. But it wasn't just that he somehow got in. No, this was, people voted for him. People wanted him to win. And there was a fight. And I think the fact is that people, I don't know, I think even people in the inner cities resonate with him more than ever. This time around, they resonate with him. I think they did before, they just didn't know it, but I think they've gotten to know him better. We'll put it that way. People are very fickle, that all can change, but, people that said in the black community, they said, oh, he got shot, and they, I don't know, for whatever reason, that gave him some credibility with some. I've heard that. There was the anecdotal. There's a lot of videos out there, people that are like, yeah, he's he got some credibility from that, I guess. Like, he knows what it's like to be shot at. He knows what it's like to have his life endangered. Before that, I mean, I think he resonates even better with even military and law enforcement and people that do put their lives on the line. So let's just put it that way. I think he's gotten a little bit more credibility. Well as, like you said, the popular vote. The popular vote, that's credibility right there. That says something. Doesn't mean you win the election. It just says that, like, you won the majority of people.
He was favored over Harris.
Correct.
He was favored over Harris by 77 million people. And that's different
77
than in 2016.
Correct. A lot of Republicans, I don't think it's been a while since they won the popular vote. Looking at popular votes. So Trump won it by 1.14%. Biden won it by 4. But in 2016, Trump lost the popular vote by 2%. George W. Bush won it in 2004. So it's been 20 years since a Republican has won the popular vote. George Bush lost the popular vote in 2000 by 0.5%. Ronald Reagan won it by 18% in 1984. That's incredible. Wow. Nixon won it by 23% in 1972. So that's pretty high numbers.
I'm excited to see what he'll do in these early days and early weeks. But I feel like the nation's going to change a lot in the next 4 years for good.
I'm glad.
I feel like a lot of people's eyes will be opened to what Biden and Harris really had in mind and how terrible their administration was.
Yeah, for sure. Like I was saying earlier about the border wall, I think that just I hope that people see what they're really up to. Trump 2024, it actually happened. Vance 2028.
It happens.
Yeah. Vance will be running in 28.
What about Ron DeSantis? He's kind of like out there.
It'd be cool to get like a DeSantis Vance ticket, huh? I thought about that.
I don't know.
It'd be kind of a weird match.
They would run against each other, but I don't think that they would
run with each other.
I don't think they would run together.
Oh.
Yeah. That'd be like if I don't know. It just doesn't seem right. They need to run against each other.
Yeah.
Two good guys.
I think that in the future we should just put every politician in just have them go against each other in a UFC fight or something like that, and have them whoever wins. Right?
Well, I feel like we covered a lot of good stuff in this episode. Again, super excited for today and the next 4 years. It's a very anticipated day. Thank you for being on the show. Loved having you these both times. Hoping you can do it again.
Yeah.
In the future. But make sure, leave a review, whatever platform you're on. Email in if you want to. See you next time. See you on the flip side.